Hello and welcome to a video for Taz McCarthy helping you prepare for the first HSC assessment task for designer technology. In this assessment task you will compile your major project proposal within the assessment block and you're marked on 5 areas. The 4 sections of the folio that should be in there, and then also how you present your folio, which is what you'll be doing during the assessment block. When you come into the assessment, you'll be able to have some simple files. These will comprise of text files. You'll have your sections of the folio typed up with very little formatting in Microsoft Word or something similar. You might also have some separate files with things like tables, and you might also have any images that you would like to put into your folio. Images you're going to use as backgrounds and things like that. In the assessment task, you will be taking your folio text and images and turning them into something that's professional, ready for your major project. So this video will cover how to do that in the most efficient way possible. First thing you need to do is to open a new document, File, New Document in InDesign. And the only things to worry about on this screen are the size of the page and which way you would like it to face. The first thing we'll do is set up our master layout. And to begin that, we need to double click on a master up the top here. The master layout is the template for all of the other pages within. So anything we put on this will appear on all of our actual folio pages automatically, even if we update it later on. Things to have on here might be your name. You might choose to have that on every page. So we'll just add simple text boxes for that. You might like to have what it is, for instance, major project portfolio. If we zoom in, you can see that this text is now here. All of your formatting options are up the top for changing fonts, changing sizes, changing paragraphs, indents, changing things like that. So what you're doing at this stage is setting up all the things that need to appear on every section of the folio. Other ideas for things you might like to have are something to do with the name of the project and then saying that it is for your folio. You might like to have page numbers, any small graphics, things like that. You might like to have the section of the folio, so when it's complete, as the markers look through, they know exactly where they are at any stage. So let's do some of those things now. If we want to put in a page number, we simply put in a text box and then come up to Type, Insert Special Character, Markers, Current Page Number. Because this is the master copy, it would only put it down as an A. But once we switch to our proper pages, it will automatically change it to whatever page number it needs to be. Keep in mind this is set up for a double page spread, like a book when you're reading it. So page numbers need to be on both sides. If you're putting in any graphics, you can simply use them, the tools built in to draw them. Perhaps you're going to have some sort of border or bar. And remembering you can right click and change the order with arrange. I might like this to go to the back, so now I can slide it underneath here and then reposition these at a slightly better height. Things like that. If you're going to have any graphics, any images, always remember to put them in by going to File, Place, and then you can pick your graphic to go in. It will float with the cursor, and when you click, you'll be dragging a box. So you might choose to have something like this on every page, depending on how it suits your project and your design. One other thing you might like to do is to set up some guidelines, and we simply do this by dragging down from the ruler, and it will leave a guideline. That will appear on every page at this. Perhaps I'd like to start my text or my title from there every time. Once you're happy with the master, we can start working on our actual document by double clicking on one of the pages under the Pages tab. Now we'll add a couple more straight away, and you can see that instantly it's applying what we asked for, and you can see that instead of saying A, that it's put in the correct page numbers for us. At any time, if you want to go back and edit the master, just double click on it up the top, and you can change the positioning, the text, anything you like. Double click on the pages to actually work on those again. Okay, the first thing that I recommend doing at this stage is to put in some paragraph styles, and we want to drag a rectangle frame box, which is the one with the X here. This is what we use to hold images and text. So we drag one of those out, and now if we go to the text tool and click in the middle of it, we'll have a cursor where we can start typing. It's very easy at this stage to either copy in a section of your folio or even to right click and to say fill with placeholder text. And this will put in some random gibberish, but it's perfectly fine for what we want to set up. Okay, press enter to put some random gaps in between some of these paragraphs so we can set up some different styles. Some different styles that you might have are things like main headings, subheadings, captions for pictures. You might also like to have a style set up with really big headings for the start of each section of your folio. One other type you might like to have is a bullet point style. So let's set up some of those now. To do this, we simply highlight the text we want to change, and we make the changes, make it look however we want. So let's set up, say, a page heading on this one. Pick our font, pick our size. Perhaps you'd like to change the color. As soon as we're happy with that, we leave the cursor just somewhere in that line, and we go to the Create New Style button, which is the page with the corner flipped up. And it creates a new paragraph style, and we'll call it something that makes sense to us. So I might have page heading. Now any other time in the document when I want to have another page heading, let's set one up here. I simply put the cursor there, click once on page heading, then it does it for me. If I ever want to change the page heading, I can double click on it here, and everything will come up, the size, things like that. Perhaps I want to make it so it never hyphenates. So I can untick that. I can get to all the details I need to here, whether it's on the left or whether it's on the right. Perhaps I would like after it and before it some small gaps, which you can see just came in. So every time we have a heading, we make sure we have space either side. So what you do, you come through and then you set up a random one, for instance, for an image caption. So underneath the captions, I might like it to be slightly smaller, and I might like it to be in italics. So I set that up, create the new style, give it a name that I recognize. And you repeat this process for as many of these as you think you'll need. The only real tricky one is setting up bullet points. For instance, if we were setting up this one, firstly you format the text however you would like. I'm happy to keep it in this style, and then you make the style. If we double click on it and come down to bullets and numbering, we can then turn the list style to bullets, and we can change the indents and things like that, which is how far in from the edge it will appear. You can see that it automatically creates the bullet points. So I just need to name this. So for instance, if I was adding another bullet point for this one, it does it for me. Once you've set up all of these, it's time to start actually adding in the text from your folio. So here I have my first section. I'm just going to get some of this, copy it, which is Command-C on a Mac or Control-C on a PC. Come back to InDesign. I can now delete all of that, and I've got my proper one. So I might make this a page heading. I might make this one a page heading. And I've still got some random text on the bottom to delete. Anytime that what you've got won't fit on the page, you have two options. You can either drag the box to be bigger and make it fit, or if the box really has to be that size, perhaps you've got an image underneath, you'll notice a little red plus comes up here. When you click that, the text will float and it will let you draw a new box, which will automatically continue the text. Now, if I have to make this even smaller in the future, you'll notice as I get rid of it up the top, it appears down the bottom. Makes it very easy for us. This box, of course, can be moved around to wherever we need to and resized. One important thing to consider is when we're putting in tables. Let's try and put one in now. So I set up a text box and I try to copy and paste. Try and copy all of this in. You'll notice copying and pasting completely destroys it as a table. That's why it's important to have your table as a separate file. And what you need to do is to go to File, Place, and then pick your table. So we'll put in our finance plan here. You might have to have it closed for it to work. Okay, just like when we put in a picture, it lets us float, and now it'll keep all of our formatting from the table. If you double click, you can still edit the text, and you can even, should be able to click on different cells, select different cells like this, and then change the colors and things like that. So you can still edit after you've pasted it in. It's probably easier to do that in Word or Excel or whatever you're using, and then just place in the document in one go. The last thing you might like to do is to add images and text. For instance, I had a picture of a business card that I wanted to put in. So I go to File, Place, and I get my business card, and it floats up here. Now, one thing that can be frustrating for people is they don't understand that images can be edited in two ways. One is the box around the outside, and that will cut and crop it as you move it. And the other, which you get to by double clicking, is the actual image itself, where you change the size and things like that. You see the box will still cut it off. So to get between those, we double click, and that will take us to either doing the image on the inside or double clicking back to the box on the outside. For instance, if we wanted this here and the text to go around it, it doesn't happen automatically, but it happens quite easily. All we need to do is to go to Text Wrap and then click one of the options and then just pick what distance we would like the text to be away from the edge. Now, anytime we move this picture around, the text will automatically flow around to fix itself. Just like so. When you've put in all of your folio text and finished your document, it looks something like this. Then the last step you need to do is to export it as a PDF. You cannot hand in the InDesign file, because the assessment calls for you to hand in one file, and handing in the InDesign file still requires a folder with all these images. To have these included, we need to export it. To do that, we simply go to File, Export, and either one of the PDFs is fine here. Probably interactive is a little bit quicker. So you'll export, make sure all of the pages are selected. The rest isn't too important. Hit OK. It's trying to tell me that text is outside the box. You can go back and check that if it's important. Okay, so I've exported a copy here of this version. So I go to my folder, and here is my finished document that I'll hand in. Nice PDF with everything in it that I expected. And that is exactly what you hand in for your assessment. Good luck.